Hi, artists and collaborators and audience who is always a collaborator in your own right, right? You're the final piece of this creative engagement. So thank you so much for being here. We are here tonight to check out the final products of the 24-hour Play Festival's Viral Monologues, Georgia State University edition. So on, oh my goodness, the days become a blur, but on Monday, we had some writers get a very, very brief and general prompt, which we may talk about in the talk back at the end of the evening, um, to create a short monologue in 24 hours. That's all, no time to dig in or get critical, just run and gun and go. And then 24 hours later, we sent those monologues to our team of actors, and they had 24 hours to learn, rehearse, and self-tape. And I'm Rebecca Suella. I should have introduced myself sooner, but here we are. I am a part-time instructor and I teach dramatic writing, so playwriting and screenwriting. Um, and I served as the project mentor. So I just sat in a Zoom room all day waiting for everyone to kind of pop in and freak out and calm down and bounce back. And we went on that journey several times and it was beautiful. I loved getting to work with all of these wonderful new artists. And what else do I have to say about it? Not terribly much. Just know that these are works created in like just the most raw, sort of vulnerable state. So appreciate that courage, that vulnerability that it takes to show up and release a thing without context of perfection, without great rehearsal or really very many resources at all, just pure creativity. I think it's really inspiring what these artists have been able to come up with. So at this point, we'll do the way the night will go. We'll see the first 3 videos, take a 5-minute Zoom fatigue break, right? And we'll come back together, we'll watch the final 2, and then we'll have a brief talk back. So that's kind of our structure. And at this point, I would like to ask everyone to mute both your camera and video so that we can focus all of our screens on the self-tapes that have been recorded by our lovely actors. And with that, I think let's take it away and let them speak for themselves. Thanks so much for being here.
Mommy, please stop. We can look for them after we talk. Mommy, Mom. I'm not helping you find my ballet slippers until you stop and listen to me. Okay, well, I know I'm supposed to be getting ready for dance camp auditions tonight, but I'm not sure if I want to do that because there are cooking classes for kids at the recreation center this summer, and registration ends at 5 o'clock, which is the exact same time dance class starts. And I know you're probably wondering, well, Safi, why can't you do both? And that's a very valid question. But the issue is that the schedule for dance class and cooking classes are the exact same time, which means I'd have to choose. And basically what I want to say is that I'd rather attend cooking classes than go to dance camp this summer. I know that you're really looking forward to me attending dance class this summer, especially now that Elena has to scale back because she's still doing PT for her ankle injury. But I go to dance camp every summer. I really think it's the perfect time for me to get better at cooking. Mom, I really enjoy it. Granny and I cook something every time I go to her house. We've made tons and tons of delicious dishes. The last time we cooked together, she let me take control. And guess what we made? A rapist. Me, Safi, I made a rapist. And Grandma said that they were the bestest, most perfect arrangement she'd ever had in her life. We've also made other platos colombianos, like bandeja países, arroz con pollo. We even baked tarta negra to celebrate when I made all A's last summer. We cooked some typical American dishes too, like lasagna and apple pie, but the Colombian ones are my favorite. Granny thinks I could become a really great chef one day. We've even talked about opening my own Colombian bakery when I get older. Mom, hello? Are you listening to me? So we aren't even going to talk about this? You're just going to walk away and pretend you didn't hear me. Why is it so wrong that I want to try something new? I've been dancing since I was 4 years old, Mom. Dance practice 5 days a week, recitals and competitions every other weekend, and for the past 8 years, I've missed birthday parties, family events, field trips, and days of school because of ballet. And you know what? I don't even like dancing. I only do it because it's the only time you seem to care about me. The only time you seem to show any interest in me or my wants and feelings is when I'm on stage. You don't know me. You don't care about what I want. The only person who cares about me is Grammy, and she's now dying. Why can't you love me like Granny loves me?
Divorcing my husband was the best thing I've ever done. Besides, not having kids with him, I feel so free. I wouldn't have to listen to him nag about his dry cleaning or deal with his overbearing mother ever again. Is this what freedom feels like? The sky is bluer, the grass is greener, and best of all, I feel younger. I'm never going to go back to that. To him, the endless days of sitting in the house alone, the troublesome nights of playing the happy couple in front of his colleagues, and the sinking feeling every time he came home smelling of cheap perfume are over. Over at last. Of course, I'll miss him sometimes. I mean, we were married for half a decade. We made some great memories while we were together. Like the time he bought me plastic curtains because he was way too allergic to get new ones. Or that time he took me to the drive-in, and we got drunk off to wine coolers and stayed until morning. Those are the days I wish we could go back to, or the people I wish we could go back to. When did we change? When did our happy little bubble pop and send us free falling out of love? We knew that life was changing us, but I didn't know that it was going to make us grow apart. Now this chapter has ended. Now that this chapter has ended, how do I get my groove back? All I have known for the last 5 years was being a housewife. I did the cooking, cleaning, and everything I thought a good wife would do. I haven't even had a job since I graduated from college. I spent my whole adult life with this man, and I don't know how to get back to my old self. I'm almost 30, and I'm a divorcee who poured her whole life into one man. And now, I have nothing to show for it. I refuse to let him see that I'm struggling. I refuse to let him hold on to me like some object he owns. The hard part, the divorce, is over. He has no legal claim to me, and I can finally be my own person, not just someone else's wife. Not just someone's wife. I will get a job, my own place, and maybe a cat. Maybe even a cat. Then I will be the independent woman I want to be. I will give him the biggest middle finger ever when he sees I'm better off without him. And 20 years from now, he would have aged like me, and I won't look a day over 35. He will lust after me, but I'll be too busy with my much better looking boyfriend, hopefully husband. Then he would realize how good of a woman I was to him, and he would spend the rest of his life at bars, talking about the one that got away, me, scaring off his potential rebounds. Mwahaha. It may not seem like it, but I'm not bitter. I'm way past the point of bitterness. It has evolved into numbness a long time ago. I would be lying, though, if I said I don't enjoy the thought of karma catching up to him, and making him feel the exact way I have felt all these years. That feeling of worthfulness and rejection would only serve to remind him of me and how he had wronged me. Past this moment, I wouldn't think of him for the emotional pain he's caused me. Past this moment, my life continues without him in it. He would only be my ex-husband, a closed chapter from my old life. I'm strong and wiser now, and I won't let anyone make me feel that way again. I'm back, baby, and I got my groove back, and I'm ready to take on the world.
Hey, buddy. You up a little early, ain't you? You know I ain't fixing breakfast and some... Trenton? Buddy, what is that? Where did you get that? Trenton, baby, I need you to listen to Mama, okay? I need you to put the gun down. I know it looks a lot like some of your toys, but this ain't a toy. This is a real gun. Real bullets that can hurt us. And I know you don't want to hurt Mom or Kobe, right? Kobe, get your stupid ass up. Why you ain't say nothing about having guns in your house? Trenton, you ain't dumb. And I know you heard what I said. Now give me the gun. Put it right here in my hand. Nice and gentle. And I promise you won't get in trouble, all right? I done already forgave you. You're still my little buddy, all right? All I need is for you to put the gun in my hand and we can go on about our day like none of this even happened, all right? I'll even make your favorite breakfast. That's right. Sweet, chocolatey, chippity waffles all for my sweet baby boy. Just put the gun down, okay? Kobe, I can't believe you're still sleeping, you rotten drunk. This is all your fucking fault. I hate you, you yellow-bellied sapsucker. Trenton Wallace Hughes, if you don't put that damn gun down right now, I swear on my great-grandmammy's grave, I'll beat you into next year. Okay. Thank you, sweetie. Your mama's good little boy. Shh. All right, baby. Stop crying now. I'm sorry. Shh. Mama is sorry. You gotta stop crying. Mama is so sorry. You shouldn't even be here. We shouldn't even be here. But Mama's gonna do good. She's gonna do better. Mama's gonna make it right.
Let's hold here. Great. Oh, we can unmute and clap or do your little clappy hands. Yes, beautiful.
Yay!
Oh, great. Thank you so much. Gorgeous work, y'all. So let's go ahead and at this point, we'll just take a quick break. We'll take 5 minutes. We'll come back. We'll watch the rest of the videos and then we'll have a brief talk back. Okay. So just a little quick break. I'll see y'all back at 7:27 on the dot.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, y'all. As you come back, if you can just flash your camera on so I can see that folks are back. Thank you. Oh, it's like stars lighting up. It's so nice. Hello, welcome back. Oh, I'm so pleased and tickled and impressed with the work we've already seen and the wild journey. I'm still not going to tell you all what the prompt was because I think it's exciting to wait until the end, but we'll get there. Just to give a little bit more context about this process in general. So usually GSU does the Crash Theater Festival, which is everyone in the theater kind of locked in over the weekend creating stage pieces, right? So we have actors, directors, and writers all working together in this very run and gun sort of potboiler. And that's super unsafe right now, right? As we all know. So this is the 24-hour play festival's response to the limits of the pandemic, of gathering, but still being able to create that sort of pressure cooker of creative risk and adventure and support. So you can actually, if you look for the hashtag viral monologues, you can find different versions of this event popping up all over the country. There's lots of celebrities doing it, which is fun. And we will be, feeding this into that larger structure, hoping for some sense of connection across all the separation of this year. So that's kind of the why, the big picture. And with that, we have two more pieces to get into. These pieces are interesting because actually they are monologues in dialogue. So I wanted to put them back to back so we can get to enjoy that experience. Now, these actors didn't get to work together and the playwright didn't get to work with them, but here we get to explore sort of creating a world together but apart. So with that said, we will move on to our last two pieces.
You're a reckless woman. I remember back when you first came into our lives, Annalise. I thought, that woman is immature and starved for attention, but she seems to really love my daughter. So I overlooked your bawdy, loud presence and the absolute insistence on cussing in front of my child, because my daughter seemed to have an affinity for you. And over the years, you've proved to me over and over again how little regard you have for my daughter's needs. You interfere with her schooling. For what reason? I can't understand. You feed her terrible, unhealthy meals, and you force her, against her will, to walk to the bus stop unaccompanied so that you can nurse your hangovers. I marvel at your flippancy towards your own family. I used to think, what kind of woman would want to be involved with a man who cheats? You used to baffle me. But now I know. The kind of woman who only thinks about herself and what she wants right in front of her. Your very existence is an insult to me and to all of the other honest wives and mothers. And your narrative that I'm a snob is starting to influence my daughter. And excuse me if I'm so exclusive about where my child goes and who she is around. You know, your only redeeming quality is your grandmother. And unfortunately, her grace and couth you did not inherit. Distasteful, trashy tendencies is the dominant trait in your family. That and your anorexia. Your pathology is visible. Maybe that's it. Maybe your delirious is due to your malnutrition. Because I can't for the life of me think why you would bring my daughter to a Thanksgiving meal during a pandemic around your entire garbage family. And not to mention your exposure to your own grandmother. And you've confused my daughter so thoroughly that she thinks that she loves her as much as her own grandma. What am I supposed to do? What do I do if she is sick? Can't you see? Can't you see that I need her to be able to cope? I'm alone. That man. That man's refusal to conform to any sense of class around my colleagues leaves me constantly humiliated. When my mother died, all I had was an embarrassment for a husband and my precious angel. And I'm not about to let him or you or even God himself take our bond away from us. I wouldn't expect a sociopath like my ex-husband or even a pathological self-server like yourself to understand what it is like to love someone so much. God put me here on this earth to ensure that she grows up to be the best, amazing woman that she can be. And you come along and you are dead set on destroying her. God help your son. They should really register women before they start having children. Women like you should be outlawed from bearing. If she's sick, I will end you. You hear me? I will end you.
All right, Campbell, Jesus, come up for air once in a while, will you? I understand that you have anxiety, and that anxiety needs to manifest itself as my quarterly lashing about how I need to be sterilized and how you want to end me. Do you even know how many times you've said that to me over the past 10 years? And I'm still here. So if you really want to end somebody, wait here and I'll go call my garbage ancestors so they can show you how to throw Kuth out the window and really get the job done. I mean, my God, do you repeat yourself? And the lashes are so routine to the point where you don't even realize you're rolling them back out again. Like, last time, it was because I told your daughter's new teacher that she was having a hard time because you forced her to switch schools away from her brother. Oh, God, I'm sorry. Not her real brother, her stepbrother. Lord knows. But don't you see that in her heart, he's as real as biology could prove? And that tears you up. When are you going to realize that she's going to have relationships independent of you? Have some confidence in the bond that y'all share together. It's not going anywhere, and neither is she. And we were extremely careful. That's why everybody got tested, to be courteous. But no, Campbell has to scrutinize and demonize anything that I do. Now you can lambast me for my recklessness all you want. That woman, the heart of our entire family, the one your daughter and my son has recognized as their grandmother for majority of their life. She came to me and she said she didn't know if she was going to be able to go on any longer without seeing her family. So don't condescend to me about knowing angels on earth, because she is surely one. And I would think someone with such self-declared grace would be able to understand someone who is in a terrible spot having to weigh out the benefits and costs of her physical health versus her mental health. And like you, she physically exists to connect with her children and her grandchildren and her great-grandchildren. And yes, that includes your baby angel. But they all treat her equally as Nana. And Nana's heart is breaking, Campbell. So I made an unpopular decision, but everything does not fit in the one size the way Campbell thinks the world should be package. And believe it or not, I've made great decisions regarding my family unit, and that's right down to letting the kids walk 2 blocks down to the bus stop so they can talk with their friends about Pikachu, or God forbid boobies, without parents hovering. My Nana, their Nana, isn't gonna be here for too much longer, Campbell. And the kids, they would have been devastated if they didn't get a chance to see her before she passed. And my garbage family, they were overjoyed to see her. And you would have been proud about how well-mannered she is, and how she doesn't have an air to her, that she's better than anybody else. Maybe you could observe that. Her test results come back tomorrow. And if your daughter has COVID, I will cry and regret everything for the rest of my life. And if my Nana passes, I will cry and regret everything for the rest of my life. But please exercise me some of the grace that you forever keep hollering at me about that you have.
Oh, wow. Yes. We can all come and say hi and clap. Yes, come on in, everybody. It's so hard not to be able to hear the laughter and the clapping. It's such a weird lag. I know that, that's so much of what theater means and does for us. But even with technical glitches, even with weird feedback, I think we can all really in spite of the distance, feel and receive the heart and the intention and the courage that went into each one of these pieces. Really just so proud of all of you. All right. So actually, before we jump into, and we're moving up fairly quickly, so we have a good little chunk of time, but as we move into sort of talking with our artists, I want to do two things. First, I want to introduce them, and second, or have them introduce themselves. And second, I want to set some ground rules, and I'm going to do those in the opposite order of what I just said, just to keep everyone on their toes. So I have some, I've worked as a moderator in Atlanta New Play Development for several years, and I have some pretty specific containers around how we work with new work constructively and creatively. So first of all, I want everyone, whether you're one of the artists, whether you're a writer, an actor, whether you're faculty or a friend or a family member, wherever you sit in this virtual space, it takes courage to speak up, to create, to share feedback, right? Not knowing that anyone will agree with you, feeling like you're kind of maybe going out on a limb. Every space in this togetherness requires a level of vulnerability and courage. And so I want to keep that front and center of our mind as we talk about the work, right? Just infinite respect for the fact that we are all collaborators in this space. And everything everyone is doing is an act of bravery and even rebellion in the time that we live in. So showing respect for that. Secondly, I'm going to give us some specific questions. The artists do not have to answer for their work in any way. So if a question veers into that territory, I will jump in, not to like shut you down, but just to reshape, right? Because what we don't want is, I can't tell you how many talkbacks as a baby artist I sat through where it was like, why did you do that? And people mean well, but what that does to your creative heart is put you on the defense and feel as though you've done something wrong. So in order to keep the conversation productive, proactive, and supportive, I ask that you really focus on your experience, sharing your experience, as opposed to investigating the whys or interrogating the creators. Some of us don't even know, right? Sometimes we do, we have ideas, but we don't want to get in that wormhole of trying to question the creative brain. That'll just make it harder to access next time. So, ground rules, everything is phrased with respect for the courage that it takes to speak up from any position. And secondly, we want to strive to own our own experience and frame that forward. So instead of investigating someone else's experience, just share your own, which is, again, an act of great courage and vulnerability. Okay, so those are some ground rules to start with. Let's introduce our artist. I'm trying to think of an orderly way to do this. I don't know, because I don't think we all have the same grid. But let's just all silence, and then I'll let y'all just kind of pop up and say, I'll start, right? And then I end. That'll let us know that you're good and bookended, okay? It may be messy, but art gets messy. No worries. Okay, so let's have writers first.
I'll start. Hi, I'm Daria Dozier. I'm not sure what you want me to say. I'm a senior at GSU. I'm majoring in theater performance and Spanish.
What were your pieces, Daria?
That's a good point. Yes. My pieces were Love Me Like Grammy, the first one, and then what did I name it? Mama's Gonna Make It Right, which was the third one.
I have such a close connection to my grandmother. That first one hit me really hard. I thought it was really lovely.
Don't mute yourself. Come back and tell us who you are, silly.
I'm Amber. I really I thought that one was I really enjoyed that because I didn't see it coming. I was like, okay, this is about a child trying to like assert what they want to do, what they want to be, you know, the activity they want to pursue, and then it was really much deeper than that, you know. So I thought it was beautifully presented. Moved me.
Amber, I promise I'm not meaning to pester you, but you got to introduce yourself and tell us what you wrote. And also thank you for the lovely feedback. Great.
I always wanted to say that. So I'm Amber, and I wrote the Annalise and Campbell pieces. They were meant to be two sides of the dilemma that we're currently living in, and I just kind of framed it around, you know, what would be the reasons behind why somebody would be devastated if you went in public for a holiday, and what would be the reasons why somebody would break those rules, and explore the you know, the I guess there's no one overarching right thing to do, and see where that went.
Beautiful work. I think our third writer is not here, so we'll just give a shout out to Morgan Wilcox, who wrote the second piece, The Divorcee Gets Her Groove Back. Morgan, wherever you are, we're sending you lots of love and appreciation. And let's go ahead and introduce actors now.
Well, I'll start. My name's Kelly Edwards. I major in film and I minor in theater. And yeah, is there anything else that I need to say?
Yeah, you need to talk about what a great job you did as
well, thank you. Yeah, no, I really loved the piece. It was it gave so many details, and it really helped me out how much in depth it went into, because it was like all the keys, all the things that I needed to know about this character was just laid out. It's like, oh, thank God. So not much research on my end, which helps. So thank you for that.
I guess I'll go. I'm Kai, Micaiah Edwards. I was Daria, and I thought it was really fun. I really liked that piece. I got it, and I was really intimidated because I don't act. So it was really scary, but it was a really good piece. And I'm a senior, and I'm a film and media major and a minor in entrepreneurship. But yeah, that was like such a great piece. I loved it.
I'll go next. My name is Madison. I did the Love Me Like Grammy by Daria. I'm a junior at Georgia State and a theater major with concentration in arts admin. I really enjoyed the piece. I was also intimidated a little bit just because I've never done a monologue that long before. With that short amount of time, but it was very interesting, and I could also relate to it a lot. Not that severely, but I could definitely relate to it. So I really enjoyed reading the piece and performing it.
I guess I'll go. Hi, I'm Nikita. I'm in my second year at Georgia State University doing a major of computer science, and I played the piece of the divorcee gets her groove back, where I played the role of a divorcee. So before she got divorced, she was recently married, but she was in love with that man, and but the man didn't love her back, so she was trying to forget about him and move on with her life. The piece was really good, even though I messed up some lines. But I liked how when I started acting, like acting several times, the flow was going on, feelings, emotional, things. I kind of stopped thinking about that, but all the feel will come inside when you're acting. So of course, yeah, I was kind of nervous at the first start when I started recording myself on this, but even though I made a few tries on it, it was a really good piece. I did all my work and tried my best on this, even though it was kind of iffy, but at least I tried. It was a really good piece. So, yeah.
Hi, I'm Nadine Banton Brown, and I'm a senior doing theatre performance and film. And I really enjoyed. I don't know. I think I might have said to Professor Sulau, like, "Oh, this piece is amazing." I couldn't wait to do it. So I was really happy to be assigned that piece too, because I was like, "Oh, I know this person."
Okay, I think that's all of us who are in attendance. So my first question for the audience is, what thoughts, and you're welcome to just put a hand up. I'm looking at the full screen so I can call on you, or you can use the chat box as well. But my first question for you is, what do you think this mysterious prompt was? What connects these pieces for you? I'm so curious. This is not a thing about getting it right either, just to be quite clear. Nobody's gonna get it right.
Nikita's raising her hand. I don't know if you guys can see it.
Who's raising hand?
Nikita.
Yeah, it was me. I was raising my hand in the chat.
Oh, Nikita, you know the prompt.
I mean, I know. I guess I'll just.
Tell the prompt. We have to ask the audience.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to get people to guess. Yeah, Susan.
So I don't know what the prompt was, but I felt that all of the pieces were the approach. The subject matter was different, but all of them had a very personal aspect to it. So it seemed as if the prompt lived in the world of what is something or someone that has touched you in a way and prompted some kind of response through that, whatever that experience, or maybe it had something to do with what is something that happened to you and what was your response to that, or how something in that world. That was really mushy, but that's
Yeah. So this like touch and response. I like that. That's great. Thank you. I'm seeing also from, I don't know if it's Kiara or Kiara, and I'm sorry, but to me, all of the pieces have something to do with family issues or ties. Yes. And also excellent work from everyone. Agreed. Okay, what else? Other thoughts, other guesses? I'm just like really tickled over here, just enjoying my little moment of knowing a secret.
I think so. Chance, are you writing something? Yes, he's typing right now. We got another, I could tell.
Another fan theory. I love it.
Rebecca, I don't know if this will share too much towards the answer, but how did you come up with it? How did you derive the prompt?
Oh, I just looked for something juicy. It was like really, I was just like, what will get somebody going and what can go in a lot of directions. So I wanted to keep it intentionally open and really welcoming, and also just like, yeah, hotspot, a rich word to just throw at everybody.
I like juicy.
Yeah, me too. Maybe it's about relationships, getting disconnected, and honest reactions. You're very warm, Chance. You're very warm towards the disconnection or something like that. Oh, look at you. Yeah. Cool it off. Any other thoughts on this from our audience before we share? So everything that you're saying is beautiful and true, and actually, interestingly, so many of you are picking up on connections that weren't prompted, that were just organic connections that emerged. But the prompt was simply come back. What does a comeback do for you? Where does that take you? So with that knowledge, how does that shift or shape, or how does that track with your experience of the piece? And this is for everyone, so artists and audience included. Yeah, everyone's like, oh, yeah, I warned you. It wasn't a guessable one. It was a trick.
No, but that was the simplicity of it is just brilliant to me, because it is so simple and yet it's so very specific, or so easily um it's it, it's so easily to fully invest in the notion of that in a very specific way, even though the prompt itself has a generality to it in terms of so it's fascinating. And I'll go ahead and say one of the things that I loved and appreciated about all of these pieces is how specific the voices were. And hearing the prompt, Rebecca, I think informs that a little bit for me. I couldn't believe how, and this was also attributed to the actors as well, but how they started, and I was just drawn into these stories, and I felt like they were these very sort of fleshed out voices of these humans that just came straight at me,
Yes.
like unapologetically, beautifully, with strength and fierce. There's a fierceness to it, to all of these, that I thought was just really lovely. So it speaks to the creative level of all the artists that were involved to hear that as the beautiful prompt, and then the amazing work that came out of that. Okay, that's all. I'm going to stop talking now and mute myself.
No, it's beautiful. Thank you. What else? Who else?
Yeah, my interpretation of it was probably more like clapback. It was just the place I was in at the time. And Nadine, you captured, like, I mean, I am just overwhelmed with how you grabbed Campbell, and I am really impressed with Callie, your interpretation of Annalise, because you did not make her trashy. I mean, I thought that was really lovely, like the way you played the opposite. If acting's not your first thing that you're doing here, I'm really impressed.
To that point, it's really interesting, because when I was reading everything that you said, I was like, I started to hate Campbell, and I was like, no, this person's actually the evil one, because they're just mad, and they've been taking out all their anger on me because I took their man. And so I had this whole impression that this character wasn't bad at all. It was just Campbell had this like hidden agenda. So that's cool. Thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah,
Well, and I love the way that it was written, because when you first you see the first piece, you are hating on the woman, the trashy woman, and then you see that piece and you're like, oh, that totally is not it. And and not only the way it was written, but also the way that it was performed. So that I thought that was a beautiful juxtaposition that you had there. So I really, really enjoyed that.
Yes, beautiful. What else? Other thoughts, other ideas? We can open up more broadly to sort of your experience of the pieces, the evening, what really sticks with you, what got through to you through all of the screens and removals, what touched you, what resonated.
Well, I just want to say that even though the camera, everything was kind of stilted and frozen. I guess everybody else saw the same thing I did. But the voices were still so clear. Like the story and the message, it was almost like this is almost an interesting way of filming this, because it was like you were seeing these frozen reactions, which is not at all how we watch film. But there was something interesting about it too, because people would be almost frozen in these very specific facial expressions, but yet the voice was consistent and uninterrupted. And there was something interesting about that, even the technology mishap.
Yeah, I agree, Mary Emily. That's a great insight. This sense that emotionally we get stuck, right? But the story keeps going. It's a weird accidental experience of that.
And to see the weird kind of facial expressions that people got stuck in.
Yeah.
I think it was almost like if that had been on purpose, it would have been an interesting way of doing it. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe that's next time's prompt.
Yeah.
Frozen. All right, beautiful. Thank you. Amber has mentioned that we're going to upload all of the pieces individually on our pages, GSU Players. I'm like looking to make sure I understand. Yes, okay, that's true. So we can go back and individually watch them, so you're not subject to all of the glitches. And yet, I really agree that the flow was still so present for me in spite of the technology, which is a real testament both to the writing and to the performances. Beautiful. And I still don't know if it's Kiara or something totally else, but my friend whose name I can't pronounce says, also, even though Nadine and Callie had no clue how the other was going to play the characters, their body language works so well. Choose your own adventure. I want to say Kiara because I have a cousin named Kiara and it just warms my heart, but I would rather know how you say it. Their body language works so well and you could feel the pieces in conversation with each other. I could not agree more. Yeah, that was really resonant to find the connection across the distance, right? You could really sense into it. Beautiful.
I just wanted to say that shows the strength in the writing, the thought behind the characters and how they're interacting with each other, because that's what was present. And I agree with what Callie said earlier, which is like, I'm sorry, Amber, I know I had an opportunity to reach out to you and I was like, I've actually got everything that I need. I think the one question that I probably asked was, where am I? But we worked that out. Something else I was going to say and it slipped my mind. A question to Daria. Because you wrote such beautiful stories that were different from each other. And so I just kind of wanted to know, what I know comeback was the prompt, but like what were your thoughts on comeback? Because it was very specific in two different areas.
So I suppose I interpreted comeback as not I guess like a personal comeback, like taking your own power back. And so in the first monologue with Safi, I don't know, I just find that I personally believe that we're I guess, born with like this power and this agency. And then as we grow up as kids, we're taught that we don't have the agency that we do have. And so that's like Safia discovering for herself that she does have this agency. And then also realizing that she's not actually terrified of telling her mother that she doesn't want to dance, but she's terrified of the disconnect that she has with her mother. She's terrified about that. And then in the other monologue, her life, it's like a wake-up call. Her son having a gun. Her son in the monologue is supposed to be like 4 or 5. So a little kid with a firearm, that's not something good to wake up to. And so that was her wake-up call, that the situation that she is in is not safe or healthy for her or her son. So when she says mama's gonna make it right, that's her comeback. She's gonna take her life back.
I loved it. I thought like that line about we shouldn't be here is very powerful. So thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Yes.
Daria, what was the age for the character in the granny monologue? Did you give?
She's between like 11 and 13. She's a preteen.
Okay. Because I was so struck also, Madison, by your performance with that. That, it would be so easy to me to sort of play into the youth of it in a way that didn't come across as authentic, but that's not what you did with it at all. I felt like you really sort of found this youthful energy in what you did, but it was so very truthful and honest too. I don't know you, but it seems so truthful and honest in terms of what you did as far as the performance. And I was just very appreciative of that and thought your work was lovely.
Yeah, thank you. I actually, sort of like how I mentioned earlier, I relate to it so much, just in a sense of, going through like with me, not necessarily being at that age, more so like, high school type of age, where going through like my parents were like, no, I want you to do this, but then I have ideas of wanting to do this based off of another family member's sort of inspiration to do something that I actually found that I like, versus doing something that my parent wants me to do. So I definitely related to that, in terms of, even if not being that exact age, but being very close to it and being in that same sort of situation, even with having the loved one sort of not being there any longer. So it definitely sat deep with me, especially the moment I read it, I was like, wow, this is definitely like a really great piece. And I was shocked that it actually worked, that it was gonna, that I related to it so much. So yeah, thank you.
Madison, I just wanted to say that your beat switch from where Safia is like explaining to her mom all the things she's done with her grandmother, the youthfulness, the enthusiasm to share all the great cooking she's done, switching to that beat where she's like, wait a minute, you're not even listening to me. Like that transition was very beautiful. I saw you go from like this excited, youthful Safia to like, okay, no, I'm going to make you listen to me. You're going to hear me. And I think you did a great job of that.
Thank you. Yeah, I think at that part, I definitely felt like she sort of had sort of like a realization that, even though she is only like 11 or 12 years old, that it was going to be her responsibility to sort of, that nobody else is going to do anything for her, that regardless of whether it was her mother who had the influence or her grandmother who had the influence, she's the one who has to go through it anyways. So I kind of like interpreted it as, okay, I'm sort of like trying to get her to understand that it's kind of like I'm going to do what I want to do regardless, but it'd be great if you had my back.
Beautiful. Thank you. And Janavi is sharing the link to the monologues in the chat. Thank you for that. Other thoughts, other observations, moments of connection, things that really resonated or stuck with you.
Well, I just want to say, Micaiah, I thought your performance was really impressive, especially considering that I would have never thought that you didn't know like much about acting. So when you said that, I was like, what? Because the piece that you had is actually really hard because you're splitting, like your transitions are so harsh. So I thought like you killed that, especially for only having that for 24 hours. Oh my gosh, that was great.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so I said that I didn't have any experience acting, but I actually I used to write poems and perform them and everything. So I have like kind of a sense of how to like switch emotions and stuff. But no, when I got that, when I finally got that piece, I was so intimidated. Like I was terrified because it was so good. Like I literally almost emailed back and was like, oh, wait, no, I can't do this. Because it was just, when I read it, I wasn't expecting that. Like, I wasn't expecting such a good piece to come from a day of writing, you know? And so when I got that piece, I was so scared, but I just came into the call. I talked to Miss Suella and we just figured it out. And yeah, but it was such a great piece to like work with because it was like you really had to get in touch with what the switch was, if that makes sense. Like you had to sit there and think, okay, I'm talking to a child and we're talking about a very serious situation. So it's kind of like, yeah, you want to be nice, but under that, it's like you're scared because it's a weapon, you know? So it was a really fun piece to work with. It was funny because when I first read it, I was like, I want to shoot this because I want to be a director. So I was like, I want to shoot this. Like, I don't want to act. I just want to shoot it. I want somebody else to act it. But it was such a fun experience. So yeah.
Yeah, you made such beautiful adjustments too. I'm gonna blow up your spot just this much, not much more than you already have. But you for real emailed me and were like, I can't do this. Frowny face. Thankfully you got on a meeting with me and we got to workshop it a little bit. And I'm so glad you did. Such beautiful discovery and work and clarity. And yeah, Daria also had the experience of watching me in real time read this piece. And I realized as I was like, oh no, she can see all my feelings right now. I'm like gone. I'm like right on camera. But yeah, it's such a complex and striking situation, and something that I think was really valuable in our work together was we came down to, okay, we can take this one of two ways. We can say, wow, this piece is really good, I'm not up to it. Or we can say, this piece is so good, I don't have to do anything. I just got to tell the truth. I just got to read the words. And like, which tactic felt better? Okay, let's trust the piece and get in there. And oh my goodness, you killed it. So beautiful. All right, what else? Other thoughts? I think we're getting probably close to the time where everyone goes to like Zoom brain shutdown. So maybe just a few more thoughts, questions, comments. What else?
Well, I just wanted to say, you know, I'm curious to see what is next. Are these short films? Do these become short films? I think it would be interesting to see what are next steps for this. So.
Yes, I love that.
I completely concur. And I wanted to say one other quick thing about the physicality in all of these pieces. You know, I'm so fascinated by the fact that you can be on camera where, you know, you've got a shot that has you, you know, mid chest up and we're only seeing your head, and yet we get such a sense of what's going on. And in this, you all adjusted that all of these were shot differently. It was a little bit wider shot in terms of being kind of waist up. But if I reflect on every single one of these, there were such different choices about them, but the choices informed the characters and what you did with them in such a huge way. So everything from, Nadine, you were sort of up close, and there was an intensity, and part of that was brought through the emotional arc that you had within the piece as well. And then Callie, you were seated back. That, it was just fascinating to think about this. Just the dichotomy of those two positions physically and what you did. But that was true again for every single one of these pieces. Hold on. Kai, I loved the fact that when you looked away from the camera at the deadbeat not waking up, that registered for me versus the focus that needed to go straight out to the child. So there were just good all the way around. So much. The storytelling was elevated through the choices you made physically. And these were not choices where you beat us over the head with a giant choice. These were, again, simple and lovely and authentic. And I thought just really just lifted up all of the pieces even more in terms of those. And I have a feeling that that's some from you, Rebecca, and your work and help with the actors, and then also the genius of the actors and the choices you all made individually with these pieces too. So just bravo on that front as well.
Yes, Janavi.
Just kind of bouncing off what Susan said, especially with Nadine and Callie's piece, I could see where everyone was in space, like within the context of the monologue. So like Nadine was standing like on the other side of the desk and Callie was just sitting there like, what do you want from me? And I feel like it worked so well. And that was really like beautifully done. But I just noticed that with all the pieces, that like there was a distinct place in space that they were, and you could tell just based on the choices they made physically.
Beautiful. All right, what else do we have? Other thoughts, other feels, other responses or questions?
Well, I wanted to say to Nadine, I thought your performance was fantastic. I was sitting there and I was watching it and I was like, oh my God, if I had seen this before, I probably would have gone off. I was like, it was pissing me off as you were performing because I knew the other character's side and I was like, oh, I would have gone harder. So I was like really inspired by that. It would make me want to just kind of shoot the whole thing. So I really loved it. And I loved your choices.
I love that.
Thank you. The funny thing is, what I was going to say is that I know that a lot of people may have like kind of balked at the fact of doing this in 24 hours, like to write something and then to bring it to life all in 24 hours. But I just wanted to say how much it challenges you and pushes you and what you get as a result of that, so I understand, Callie. Like there were times when I looked at the piece and I did peek at I peeked at your monologue and I was like, oh, I'm going to use that to inform what I do. But I'm glad that I didn't see your performance, because it would have changed some of the things that I did. And there was just some moments that, you can't get unless, of course, you do it this way. So, take it for what it is. But I enjoyed yours as well, Callie. I enjoyed everybody's. I thought everybody did such a great job. So,
yes, beautiful. Yeah, it would be awfully interesting to see those monologues reworked into an equitable exchange. Wink, wink, Amber, no pressure. Oh, fantastic work, y'all. I think with those beautiful thoughts on what we're able to generate in creative restriction, what is unique about those discoveries, I think let's send it on that note. Thank you all so much for your time, for your feedback, for your presence, those of you who took the time to come and watch and support and share, those of you who took the time with a week before finals to get out there and do something different, shake up your framework. I hope it brings like a creative flow to the rest of your semester, right? Something unlocks for you. Thank you all so much. I really appreciate the opportunity to do this, to facilitate and be a part. And thank
Yeah,
you.
I was going to say, if we can give it up to all of the artists, but yes, Rebecca, for you to being the fearless leader in this. Thank you so much for your excellent work.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Aw.
Appreciative.
That's so kind. Thank you all so much. I think here we go. The imposter syndrome was real. It always is, and it never is. That's the thing with imposter syndrome. Always real, never real. You guys are terrific. Have a beautiful evening.
Thank you so much, everybody. Great job.
Susan, did you need to?
Yeah, I said what I was going to say, so it was wonderful. Thank you so much.
Brilliant. Thank you and good night. Goodbye, everyone.